Our Father, we thank you for tonight. We appreciate your holy name for your faithfulness and for your goodness. Thank you for your love. Thank you for another time of meeting, another time where we grow, where we can learn from one another and we can grow. Father, we appreciate your holy name. Thank you for bringing everybody in the masses to be part of this meeting today. Lord, we say, Father, have your way. Speak to the hearts of everyone here. For everyone joining, everyone that's connected, speak to our hearts. That at the end of the day, we go back better, well seasoned with the work that you have placed in our hands as teachers in Jesus' name. Thank you, Father, for your spirit at work in us. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen and amen. So I welcome everybody to tonight's meeting. It's good to meet with everybody again. And it's good to see everyone. I'll be sharing my screen now as we start today. Thank you. Okay, so can everybody see my screen? My screen should be viewed by all now. Can everybody
yes, we can.
All right, thank you. So our topic for this month of July is spicing up your teaching with good visuals. Spicing up your teaching with good visuals. So we'll start by what is visual in the first place? What is good visuals? So that's what we'll be talking about today. And it's just all to help us to become better at what we do as children teachers in various places. Okay. All right, I'll be starting now. All right, our Bible verse will be taken from the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 1. Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 1. I'll be displayed on my screen. It says, I will stand at my guard post and station myself on the ramparts. I will watch to see what he will say to me, and how I should answer when corrected. I will stand at my guard post and station myself on the ramparts. I will watch to see what he will say to me and how I should answer when corrected. So here, this was Habakkuk. Habakkuk is talking here. He said he will watch to see what God will say. Is it possible to see what God says? Is it possible to see what someone says? I thought you have to listen to hear, right? When somebody speaks, you have to listen to hear what someone says. But here he says, I have to see. So why was Habakkuk waiting to see what God would say? Do you see what someone say? Why would they wait to see? Because there's something about seeing. There's something unique about seeing, because when you see, it makes understanding easier. When you can visualize it, then it makes understanding easier. That is a way to see what he will say. So that it's not just waiting to hear God speaks, but be able to translate it so that it can bring about understanding of what God wants to say to him. All right, we'll be going ahead now. How does understanding come? How does understanding come? On my left, we can see a lady with a tab. She's reading something on the tab. But as she's reading, she's trying to what? Visualize what she's reading. Because when you read, you want to picture what you are reading. When you are being taught, you want to picture what you are being taught. She's putting it in the pictures. In putting it in the pictures, in picture form, understanding comes. It aids understanding of whatever it is you are reading, when you can picture it. When you say, Jesus came to die for me, it will just be like that until I can picture Jesus came to die for me. How was it? You picture it. How is it? Then it brings understanding of what Jesus has done. So that is the power of visuals. And we can see to the left here, the children, they are doing things on the system, but something is going on their mind. They're picturing what they are being told, what they are being taught is being pictured in their minds. Because until they picture what they are being taught, then its understanding will not come. So there's something about pictures. There's something about what you see. It's not just about what you hear. There's something about what you see. And that is what makes visuals very important when we teach children or when we teach. because you are children teachers now, it's about children you're talking about. So he said, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. You say you can speak 1,000 words, but just by showing picture of what you are teaching, it speaks a lot. You know, just when you see an artwork, when you just see the pictures, artwork, you don't write on art, but when you see the pictures, it says a lot. You can see, you can understand what the artist denotes just by seeing the artwork, just by seeing the craft. Okay, so it's a cliche, but it's true. Images make viewers feel things that words cannot, and it gives teachers a way to connect with their audience on a more deep down level. It brings connection. It brings connection. When people can see, you don't just talk, they see what you are saying, they can visualize it. Then it brings what? It makes the audience connect with whatever it is you are saying or you are teaching at that particular time. Okay, so what are visual aids? Okay, what are visual aids? Am I still being viewed? Okay. Visual aids are things that you look at, such as a film, models, map, or slides to help you understand something or remember an information. There are things you look at, there are things you can see. When someone talks, it can be different things. It can be videos in the video form. It can be a map. It can be a slide. It can be pictures that you show. It can even be an object. It can be an object. That's what people can look at, what they can see to understand or to remember information. So why use visual aids? What is the importance of it? Why do we use it? We said visual aids can reinforce and clarify points in your presentation. Now I'm teaching, I'm on PowerPoint. This is a type of visual aid. You can see it. I'm not just talking. It's not just about me. It's not just about what I'm saying. It's all about what we can read, what we can see with our eyes. It's catchy. So we grasp it faster. We grasp it better because we can visualize it. So it reinforces and clarifies key points in presentation. It engages both the eyes and the ears of your audience and improves both their understanding and their retention. It's not just about hearing, because sometimes when we hear, we tend to forget easily what we've heard. But when we see it, when we see a picture of it, it's so difficult to forget. It's so hard to forget. It doesn't leave us fast. What we see doesn't leave us fast. It stays, it glues with us. Just like when you teach children, and there was a time I was teaching the children and we talked about the role of a doctor. So I just remembered, oh, I had doctor's kit. Okay, let's do a role play of what doctor does, doctor and patients, acting as doctor and patients in the hospital. And we did a role play. Wow, it was amazing how the children till today did not forget it. They didn't forget that teaching. Do you know why? Because they were involved in it. We did a role play, so they understood better that this is what the doctor, this is the role of the doctor in the hospital. It ensures you are good, they ask you questions and all of that, and it stuck with them because they could visualize, because they saw themselves in it. And that is what makes the retention and understanding great. It improves that. Okay, so visual aids for children Bible studies. It helps simplify art teachings. There are certain times that we teach things that the mind cannot analyze. But when you see pictures, a pictorial view of it, it makes it simple. There was a time I was teaching about storms to children. You know, most times in this part of the world, we don't get to see storms, right? So I had to look for a video of it to show what storms look like. And you know that the children gave me detail by detail, weeks, months after the lesson, what the storm was about. It was actually, we're sharing testimonies of what God did to help someone. We're sharing testimonies, and I had to use videos for it. And they didn't forget all of the testimonies we shared. Why? Because they were able to view it. If I said storm, they would have said, okay, storm. They were just said, okay, since they cannot even picture it, they'll just say, okay, and I've forgotten. But because they saw the picture of what it was, they saw the picture of what the storm was, they saw a picture of what volcano was, they understood better. It was deeper to them. So afterwards, when they hear things like that, they say, yes, I know it, I've seen it, I watched it. You know why? Because they could visualize it. So it helps simplify art teachings. Also help children understand easily. Sometimes when it's tough for children to understand things, when you come down to their level and bring it down to what they can visualize, use something they can see or they can touch or they can handle to teach, it makes it easy. Then you say, the children will say, oh, now I get it. Why? Because they have seen something. They have attached it. It makes understanding easy for them because they have seen it. They have visualized it. That is the power of visual aids. Then it helps children retain knowledge better. Yes, retention of knowledge. Last week on Friday, we started press report. Press report is a collection of testimonies of what God has done for his children. So we started on my Bible lesson platform, and we said stories of 4 different testimonies. And do you know that 2 days afterwards, I remember that I asked my children about what they learned from Bible lesson, and just asked them, what did you learn from Bible lesson on Friday? On Sunday, I remembered. What did you learn from Bible lesson on Friday? And do you know that they didn't just remember the stories, they remembered the names of each story. And some stories have 2 names, 3 names. They remembered all the names, remembered what happened, remembered the story, and remember what God did. Why? Because they could visualize it, because they saw it. And sometimes when we are talking about things that are difficult, I use videos. I won't just use slides, I'll just use videos. Let them just watch it. I sit back and make them watch it. And I discover that it helps the learning. It makes learning easy, even for me, the teacher. And I was happy for that feedback I got. I can see the importance of visual aids. Okay, so it helps in the retention of knowledge. The children will not forget easily. I read on visual aid said they store visuals in their long-term memory. That means anything they see, it doesn't leave them easily. It retains, it's stored in a long-term memory. Then it helps retain children's attention. Yes, you won't lose children's attention fast. Why do you think when children watches a cartoon, they get stuck there? Even when you are talking beside them, they are not moved, they are not shaken. You see them engrossed with that cartoon. Why? Because it's video. Is visualized. There's something about vision. There's something about what they see that makes them what? That keeps their attention. So it retains children's attention. Then it spices up teaching. Yes, it spices up. It makes teaching great. It makes teaching easy. It makes teaching fun, even for the children. The children will not want to stand up from the teaching with good visuals. When you use good visual aids, they will enjoy it. They won't want it to stop, because there's something pulling them along the teaching. Then it saves time spent on explanation. Yes. You know, sometimes you say, oh, there's a storm. Do you understand what storm is? A storm is when everything will just be moving and everything will be falling, it will be destroying houses. But when they just see the video, just play a short video, a 2-minute video or a minute or 30-second video is even enough for that. And when they just see the video, so wow, then you have what? You have saved your own time of teaching. It makes what? Time spent on explanation, it saves it, then it brings teaching alive. It makes children relate with what you are teaching them. They can relate with it, so it makes it easy and fun. Okay, so I wrote here, my spirit said average concentration are spanned by age of children. Yes. When we are teaching also, we have to know the age we are dealing with. That is why we don't model up children, right? We have classes, different classes ranging between ages, maybe 0 to 2 or 0 to 4 or 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 7, 8 to 10, like that. Why do we do that? Because every child, every age has its own average concentration span. And how do we determine this? We determine the age of the child multiplied by 2 to 5 minutes, between 2 minutes to 5 minutes. So I'm teaching a 4-year-old child now. 4 times 2, that is 8, and 4 times 5, that is 20. So within 8 and 20 minutes, that is the average concentration span of that child. If I'm teaching a child of 4-year-old and I'm spending more than 20 minutes, then I won't have the child's attention anymore. Why? Because the concentration span has elapsed. So you see the child just distracted doing other things. So we need to know the age range of the children we are dealing with to be able to determine the time we use with each child in teaching, or we use with the children in teaching them. Know the class you are teaching. Know the average concentration span of the children you are teaching. Then it will guide you also in the timing you need to teach those children, that you get their full attention and know that, yes, you are really getting through to them using good visual aids. When you want to use good visual aids, one thing we must have in mind is that you need to think ahead. You need to plan your visual aid. It's not something that, oh, I have a class in 1 hour. Then you just scribble something down and say, yes, I want to go and teach, and pick up a sheet of paper and be teaching. Now, this is it. You are not teaching an adult. Even in adults, it doesn't work because it will be boring, right? So we're teaching children, so you have to think ahead. You have to plan your visual aids. There is something called planning. For me, my Bible lesson, I run a 45 minutes Bible lesson online. But for that 45 minutes, for me to show face for that 45 minutes, sometimes it takes 4 days of planning my lesson, of sitting down and putting together what I want to deliver to the children. It sometimes takes days, it takes nights, and you just see me, I will just appear. For, I mean, the teaching is even up to 45 minutes. The old Bible lesson is 45 minutes. So my teaching is not more than 30 minutes or sometimes 25 minutes. And it will sometimes take me days, 4 days. It's not less than 3 days. I'll be there brainstorming. Okay, how will I do this? Okay, you do this. Okay, you change it. You have to plan. You can't beat planning. If you want to have good visual aids, if you want to have good audience, you want to be able to capture your audience well, then you have to plan. Planning is key. Preparation is key in having a good presentation. It's not something you just rush to. No. And if it's a church setting, you know that, okay, we have to have meeting, maybe an annual meeting, a quarterly meeting, a monthly meeting, to prepare ahead, so that you know that by the time you have the meeting there, you know that you are all ready to teach. You know what you want to teach. Is it that you are prepared before the meeting, then you know what to teach, then everybody is prepared, everybody is set to go ahead and deliver. But preparation is very key to having good presentation. Then relevant. Whatever your visual aid is, it must be relevant to what you are teaching. It must be relevant. You cannot be teaching, I cannot be teaching about Jesus feeding 5,000, and I'm bringing a visual aid that does not depict that. It must be relevant. Whatever visual aid you want to use must be relevant. It must be simple. It must be visible. Visible when you have a very large class. Whatever it is you are using to teach the large class must be visible by all. Everybody should be able to see it. That's using good visual aids. It must be legible. You know, now I'm presenting this. Everybody must be able to read what has been written on the visual aid. Although the visual aids are not meant to really write, it's more of pictorial, but at least sometimes when you need to write some things, then it must be legible. It must be seen by all. Using right visual aids, simple to understand, visible to audience, legible to read. Then visual aids doesn't stand alone. It doesn't stand alone because I have the picture now. Oh, that is all I need. No, do not hide behind them. Know your teaching properly. Visual aid, like we said, just like the topic of today, is just to spice up the teaching. It doesn't take the place of the teaching. It's just spicing it up. It just works hand in hand with your teaching. So you also must be prepared with what you want to deliver to the children. Visual aids is just buttressing your point. It's buttressing what you are saying in a short form, in a pictorial form. Okay? So we said traditional visual aid still works. There is no extinction of visual aid. No. Traditional, whether you're doing using objects to do your visual aids, or you are using your cardboard to do your visual aid, or cuttings, you cut out some things, it works. Use of physical objects, or you do role play. You ask your children to come and do role play. Maybe I'm talking about the story of maybe the story of the birth of Jesus. Then I told the children, okay, come out and let's do a role play of the story of the birth of Jesus. That also visual, because those children involved, and even the ones watching, it won't leave them because they are involved. The role play will stick with them, just like the ones I did with my children in school. It stuck. They understood the role of a doctor. Now you can wake them up, they know, because they were involved in the role play of what the role of a doctor is. Okay, so you may adopt things around you. Pick roots, pick plants to teach. Pick sometimes you use egg to preach Trinity. Different things. There are different things that can be used. Objects, papers, whatever. There is everything still work. There's nothing like, oh, technology has come and taken the place of, no. Visual aid is visual aid. Just make it good, simple, and relevant to what you are teaching. So technology has improved possibilities. So now, if you don't want to go down the lane of using paper, you don't want to go down the lane of using objects. Yes, we now have technology like what we are using now. So we can use a PowerPoint, we can use whiteboards, interactive boards, flip charts, videos, handouts that children can see through their screen, and it's catchy, and it's also passing the information that you want it to pass. So technology, yes, it's also a good form of good visuals. Then skill development and collaboration. Teachers, you know, now at least on this platform, I have teachers, I have mommies that taught me when I was a child. And they are still teaching. So what does that mean? It means that we never stop learning. It means we have to keep learning, relearning, unlearning what we know that is not working again, and you relearn. Learning never stops. And you know that collaboration with skillful people also can help. Sometimes you know that, oh, I'm not a good artist. For me personally, I'm not a good artist. You're not a good artist, but you have a colleague or you have somebody that you know that is a good artist. Yes, you can collaborate with someone and say, oh, you will help me with this. You will help me with this. The person can help. Then also, oh, I'm not good with doing this. People can help. You can collaborate with skillful people to help. The main idea is the delivery in whatever you do. Okay, using traditional aids. Sorry, I'll be playing a video now. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yes.
We can hear you perfectly well, ma'am.
All right, thank you, ma'am. I'll be playing video now. All right, I'll be playing video now to show.
No, that's a question.
We can hear you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
That might make sense with the visual. You see, Jesus.
So this is the traditional teaching aid.
To take the punishment of our sin, the sin that you have done or would ever do. That's what he came to do. And see, you here look pretty good. I mean, come on, you look nice and clean, just the way you were meant to be. Oh, I could drink you up. But we've all done stuff that we shouldn't do. We've all sinned in different ways. And the problem is when we sin and we bring sin into our lives, it changes us. It changes who we are. And suddenly there's elements in us that weren't meant to be there. Maybe it's bad attitude, yelled at parents, or lied to a friend, yourself, whatever it might be. It's not the way you were meant to be. And God saw this, and he didn't want it to be this way. He said, this was not how I intended you to be. So God had a perfect rescue plan. And that rescue plan was Jesus. Now, Jesus was perfect. He came and he lived a perfect life. He was without sin. So the question was, what would happen if Jesus took the sin of the whole world, all of the sin, and put it in himself? And so he went to the cross and he took our sin. And Jesus took all that sin and put it in himself. But that's the thing, is Jesus took our sin to the grave, but then he left it there. He left that sin in the grave and he came back with new life for all of us. and he was still perfect and pure and blameless and everything that we needed. And so you, with all of our sin and with all that's inside of us, you have the ability to say yes to Jesus, because we don't need sin anymore. Sin has been defeated by the power of the cross and what Jesus did and the power of his resurrection. And so when you say yes to Jesus and you ask him to fill you with his power, it changes everything. Jesus brings freedom. You couldn't have taken this out on your own. You could not remove the sin from yourself. Only Jesus could do that, because he died and rose again to defeat the power of sin and bring us true freedom. That's why Jesus had to die.
Okay, that's the traditional teaching. Even when he was teaching, I got stuck to the teaching. And you know, when you teach like this, it won't leave the children. It's traditional, right? You know, we say, oh, we don't do that. But do you know that it's still relevant today? You see how simple he talked about what Jesus came to do for the children? Yes, I learned that one. I taught some of my children 2 years back this, and it didn't leave them. Why? Because they could see. Maybe before you will say Jesus died for you, but because of that teaching, they understood it better. They could visualize what Jesus has done. Okay, wow, so this is what Jesus did. It clarifies things. It makes it clearer. It makes the understanding faster. Okay, let's go to the next one now. Okay. Okay, so this one of my teachings on the story of Joseph.
To Joseph. Remember, we are reading from Genesis chapter 40, verse 9 now. We started from verse 1. Okay, in my dream, there was a grapevine in front of me, and on the vine with 3 branches. Then as soon as it budded, its blossoms burst open, and its clusters produced ripe grapes. Now Pharaoh's cup was in my hand, and I took the grapes and squeezed them in Pharaoh's cup. Then I placed the cup into Pharaoh's hand. That was the dream of the cup bearer. Okay, then Joseph told him the meaning of the dream. Remember, we said Joseph had a gift, and what was the gift? He interpreted dreams. Okay, so Joseph, who had the gift of telling the meaning of dreams, said, within 3 more days, Pharaoh will lift up your head, present you in public, and restore you to your position. And you will again put Pharaoh's cup into his hand, just as you did when you were his cup bearer. Only think of me when it goes well with you, and please show me kindness by mentioning me to Pharaoh and get me out of this house. Joseph told the cupbearer the meaning of the dream. He said in 3 days that he will be called back to his former position as the cupbearer. And when he's called back, Joseph begged him and said, please don't forget me. Remember to mention me to Pharaoh that there's somebody in the prison too, so that he can free me from this prison. Okay? All right. So the baker, when the baker discovered that the cupbearer's dream was good, he quickly told his own dream. So he said, let me quickly tell my own. The cupbearer's dream is a good one. So he started with his own. I also dreamed. And in my dream, there were 3 cake baskets on my head. And in the top basket, there were all sorts of big food for Pharaoh. But the birds of prey were eating this food out of the basket on my head. And Joseph also told the baker the meaning of his dream. Again, Joseph, understanding the dreams that he has heard, told the baker the meaning. He said 3 baskets represent 3 days. He said, just like the cupbearer, in 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and will hang you on a tree. Was that a good dream? Children, was that a good dream? So, one was meant to be restored back to his former position as the cupbearer, and the other one will be what? Hanged. That means he will be killed. That's what it means. And you will not as much be given a burial. The birds will eat your flesh. That was what Joseph said. He said the birds will eat your flesh. Nobody will bury you. See the birds, they will eat your flesh. That's what it means, you know. And Sorry. So it was not good news for the cupbearer. It was not for the baker. It was not a good news for the baker as the cupbearer.
Okay.
The drinks. Can you please tell?
Okay. Thank you. So that was just a quick view of what visual aids are. We've seen the one where he used the objects, the cups, to teach about the story of what Jesus has done, Jesus, sin, and we as an individual, how Jesus came to die for us, clarity, giving it clarity just by using the visuals. And we also see the story of Joseph. I just caught up one of the clips of the teachings we had on Kingston Bible Club of how we'll explain the story of Joseph. So when children see these pictures, when they see it with their eyes, it makes it stick. They understand it better. That was not the first time they'll be hearing the story of Joseph, and that would also not the first time they'll be hearing about Jesus died for you, Jesus took your place. But when you use visuals, it makes it hit the nail on the head. It doesn't leave them. It's restored. It's being stored in their long-term memory. They don't forget easily. That is the power of good visuals. So we said if there are good visuals, there are also bad ones too. Yes, when we say there are good visual aids, there are bad visual aids. So what can make visual aid bad? What can make it bad? When your visual aid is off the point. Your visual aid does not correlate. It does not meet up with what you are teaching. It's not aligning with your topic. When it's off the point, that's a bad visual. When it's unclear, when your visuals is unclear, it's not clear, it's all muddled up. It's all muddled up. That's a bad visual. Okay. Also, when it's not simple, when you have too many things at once on a chart and it's not simple, or on your PowerPoint and it's not simple, it's not a bad visual because it can confuse the children. It's not a good visual aid because it can confuse the children. It's not a good visual aid because it can confuse them. Then when it's long and boring, you know, we talked about the attention span of the children you are dealing with. So now we've learned what attention span. So if I'm teaching a child of 10-year-old, so 10 times 2, that's 20 minutes, 20 to 50 minutes. So that means a child of 10-year-old can have attention of a span of 20 minutes, between 20 minutes to 50 minutes. So I know that if I'm teaching a child of 10-year-old, then okay, I can stay longer, but if I'm teaching younger children, then my presentation time must be shorter. So it must not be long. It must not be boring for it to make it good visuals. It must be simple. It must be direct. It must be direct. It must not be off the point, and it must be clear. So bad ones are the ones that are off the point, unclear. They are not simple. They are long and boring. That you see people sleep and say, "Oh, I've been in a class where you see the lecturer comes to teach you and be like, oh, I love this lecturer, and everybody will be active all through. And you see a class where lecturer comes here and be like, oh, is this man or is this woman again? Yes, that is the power of good visuals. Power of good teaching is in the visuals that we use for the children. So practical approach. What are the practical approach? What are the questions we ask yourself when you want to teach? You have a topic at hand and you want to teach that topic. What are those questions you ask yourself? Can I do one-man role play? Can I use materials for visual aid? What technology is available for me? These are all questions you ask yourself. Can I involve some children in the role play so that it could role play can be my visuals for the day for the children? Does any of my learners have the skills to simplify the learning? Sometimes our learners might be skillful. Sometimes our learners some of them might be artistic. Some of them might even be good with technology. Yes, you can make use of those skills. Then can I learn from internet simple skills to explain the teaching? Can I learn? Sometimes we have to go ahead to learn. We have to open up our minds to know that, like I said, you have to learn, relearn, and even unlearn some things that we already know that is not working anymore. So we have to open our mind to learning. Teachers keep learning. As a teacher, you can't just sit down and be there. You can't just say, oh, I went for training 5 years ago. And since then, you've not gone for another training. No, it's wrong. There's something called refresher courses. You have to keep going and training yourself from time to time. And while in training, you learn new things, you pick new things. So you don't just leave there and say, oh, I know it. No, you keep learning. You keep learning. If not, the children you are teaching will leave you. The children you are teaching have gone ahead and you are still using something that they are not even interested in anymore. That is why we need to be up to date in the methods of teaching. Okay, so what's the way forward? Way forward in teaching, we say number one, you understand. You have a topic. Earlier on this year, we talked about planning. It was what we talked about earlier on today, where you have to plan for the year. Know what you want to do. Know what you want to achieve for the year. Know your goal. You must know that. So when you know that, then you understand. Be sure you understand the topic, the concept or the idea you want to pass perfectly. You must understand, because if you don't understand something, there's no way you can pass on an information. There's no way you can teach what you don't understand. So you must work on your own understanding first. That is the first thing to do when you want to move with having good visuals. Then you must think ahead. It's not something that will be like, it's something that I must do now. Then you just come unprepared. It's just children. You know, some people do it. It's just come and teach 0 to 2 class. That's the easiest. They are just children. We just go ahead. In fact, that is the one you must prepare for the most. Why? Because it's not by what you say with your mouth. It's by good visuals that will catch their attention and not the words of your mouth. But some people will think, 0 to 2, there's no, what will we teach? We've been teaching for a long time. I'm gifted in this, and I just come up and just say something from the blues. Then the children will be looking at you. Hello, so what have you learned today? There's no hand up. They don't even get it. Then you keep repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating what you have said. Why don't you try good visual aids and just ask one question? You see the children answering you. You see them answering from all sides. Why? Because they've seen it. They could relate with it more. They can relate with it. Some answers, to be attended to afterwards, please. So after now, you can relate. You can relate because they can relate to what they've heard, so they can answer questions correctly. That is why you see children are good with videos. They are good with visuals. What they can see, they relate with it better. All right, so you have to think ahead. Brainstorm on how to simplify your idea for children using visual aids. Sometimes when I know my topic, sometimes a whole day, you'll be there thinking, how will I relate this topic to the children? You can use a whole day thinking about how you relate the information. Before even starting to gather things that you will need. That is how time consuming it can be. That is why we can't just afford to hurry into anything. No, we must think ahead. We must think ahead. Okay, we must gather the needed resources, working on the planned visual aid. You can adjust as you go. Yes, you must develop different things that you want to use to teach them. It's one thing to have your teaching on your head. It's one thing to have your teaching written down. Then the other thing is how to visualize your teaching, how to develop the resources that you need to make it visual, to make it to be able to be visualized by the children and relatable to what they can relate with. Okay, so this is part of the way forward in having a good visual aid. Then you must walk through it. You don't just stop with development. You develop and say, oh, I'm prepared. No, you walk through what you have developed. For me, having this meeting, I've gone through these slides over and over again, just to be sure that I've familiarized myself with what I want to teach. So I don't just come and be saying, oh, so what next? I don't know. So you must walk through, you must rehearse with what you have developed and plan just like you want to have it. Visualize the response ahead of time. Visualize the response, visualize walk through it. It will help you to gain all of this knowledge. And like I said, nobody is an all-rounder person. We are all good at one thing or the other. For me, I'm good with just sitting down and teaching. I'm good at delivery. That is my strength. I'm good at delivery. I'm not good at sitting down and collating and doing things. That is why I have people that help me to help me collate, to help me put all these things up. That is why we can come together, look for people that have the skills that can help you to do all of that. Then you walk through, everybody work hand in hand for good delivery of the teaching with good visuals. So all of these things helps. Everything is channeled towards what? Having a good teaching, and having good visual aids to back up your teaching, and having what are all grown, developed children in a happy class, enjoying the class. That is why you see children, when the class is interesting, when there's good visuals, they always long to be in the class. You don't beg children to attend such classes. No, it's the children that will be reminding you, we have a class now, we have a, why? Because there's something that's cheering them up. There's something that is making them want to come back. And it's because of the good teaching skill and good visuals that are being used. And that is why it is very important. Visuals, using of good visual aids cannot be overemphasized, especially when we are teaching children. Even with adults, it goes a long way, not to talk of children. So we cannot just come and say, okay, I want to teach Bible, I just carry my Bible and I start preaching for the day, like pastor in big church. That is why children sleep in, but that's why they sleep in big church, because it's just talking and talking and Nigeria will say, we just talk and talk and talk and talk. They will just talk and talk, because at that moment they are off. But why is children church very interesting? Because they know that, okay, in children church, if I can get a TV that works, there's a slide that works, there's a picture that my teacher will show me, there's an object that teacher will bring to the class to make the teaching interesting, then they love to be in children church. They will not want to go to big church. No, we want to be in children church because there is something bringing them back to the place. There's something calling them back. And that is the good teaching, good presentation. And the children will never forget that. It sticks with them. I wrote down something. I said, visual learning increases retention by 29 to 42%. It increases retention and it improves learning process. That is visual learning. When we can co-opt these visuals, it doesn't just stop at teaching children in church, even children in school. When you use good visuals, you discover that there are certain things you have been struggling with in teaching, in disseminating information, that when you just use visual, just be like, what did I do different that these children are getting it like this? Then even as a teacher, you will be happy, you will be fulfilled, seeing learning taking place in the children. You know that, no, I'm not wasting time. Learning is taking place and everybody is happy and the goal is achieved and Jesus is being preached and these children continues to grow in him. All right, thank you. That is the end